Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, my balloon-inflated... No, friend. I don't know. I'm looking at balloons.
I'm a balloon-inflated friend. I'm an inflatable podcaster.
I was looking at the balloons behind you, and I was like, maybe I can make a pod about balloons.
I am a blow-up doll podcaster, apparently.
My blow-up doll podcaster, Frank. You're my only friend.
That's sad.
Isn't it? I could have gone with, like, astonishing friend, Frank, or
Yeah.
my spectacular
Listen,
buddy.
If I'm an inflatable podcaster, I mean, inflatables, blow-up dolls can fly planes.
I can take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
Or
And-
where I want
and I
you
can
to
fly
go.
a plane.
You're like Flat Stanley.
Yes.
They're like the Flat Stanley of podcasts.
That's
You can
exactly
go
it. Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
How
are you, my friend?
I'm fine. I'm clearly not as with it as I want to be, but
Yeah?
I'm good.
Oh, good.
I'm good. Partially due to the beer that we are drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back on the Jacko Traveler Pumpkin Shandy.
Jacko Traveler.
Because it is October. It's Scotchtoberfest.
Scotchtoberfest.
You know what I'm talking about? Simpsons episode?
No.
So this Oktoberfest.
Yep.
And one day Bart sees Willie, the groundskeeper, like celebrating Scotchtoberfest with like there's a bunch of groups there, whatever. So Bart like ties balloons, funnily enough, tying this all together, balloons to his kilt, and it goes up, and he's not wearing anything underneath, and so it goes up, and he's like, "Yeah, this is the way it was intended," blah blah blah, and then so all these like rogue agents or these agents pop out. To get Bart, and Skinner walks out. He's like, "I caught you, Simpson. There is no such thing as Scotchtoberfest." And Willie's like, "You used me, Skinner. You used me." It was so funny.
That is so funny.
So funny. We're not talking about The Simpsons today, though.
No, we're not.
No.
But good reference.
It was.
I like it.
Yeah, it was a great reference. Thank you. I will say, though, that when I was younger,
Yes.
there was an arcade game of The Simpsons that I used to play.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Like a local arcade?
Yeah, it was
Where you
like
grew up?
Bart on a skateboard and like all this stuff, and which was a lot of fun. I never played any Simpsons games on any consoles that I had, though.
Okay.
And so, but that's okay because I played other stuff.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine just told me recently about this thing that you can get at Best Buy.
Okay.
Which he has it. I'm super jealous.
Okay.
Where it's a comboed Nintendo Sega Genesis. And it's like $20.
Is it like original Nintendo and Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is really funny.
Yeah. Okay. Why?
Well, finish what you're saying because I've got to tie into this.
Okay, great. So he's telling me this thing, and so you can take all your old Sega games, all your Nintendo games, your Super Nintendo games, and you can play them on this machine that only costs like $20. So you don't have to worry because the games were made to last. They keep
The cartridges are
indestructible. Yeah, I mean you can bury them in the desert for 40 years,
as we found out with the Atari game.
Yeah, right.
The
Not
ET.
40 years, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but a long time.
As we found
like
out
30
with the
years.
ET games. Yeah, so. And so he's been playing all these games, and I've been super jealous of him. But you have a story to tie into this?
I do. So I was at a brewery a few weeks back.
You didn't invite me.
And there was...
I was there in the hops.
There was a big screen in the room, and someone was playing like classic Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh.
Which is like my favorite video game of all time. And I was no 3. So the one that's
yes.
You're doing that's 1. That's Super Mario Brothers 1.
It's awesome. Isn't that the music?
Either way,
that's 3.
Yeah,
I got it. Never mind.
There was this little mini console called Retro Entertainment System, and it had a bunch of. They just had a bunch of. They had NES games only, but I think it's
if it's the same thing.
It is only $20. I looked it up.
It's the same thing.
It looks like it. And it uses the same kind of like the classic NES controller, and it takes all the NES games. And it might be a different one that's just for NES, but either way, they're playing on this giant projector on the screen on like the wall of the brewery. I was like, this is so freaking cool.
That's
like
amazing.
And everyone was just playing these games, and I was like, this is so much fun. Oh my god! Like it was fantastic. So it got me really nostalgic. And over the last couple of weeks, since I went there, I don't play many games lately, but in these last few weeks, I have been back into just playing some games casually,
right,
for fun, because this experience that I had got me jazzed about it again,
as it should have.
Yeah.
So what did you have growing up?
So my first system growing up was an NES. I inherited an NES from my cousin. He was about 5 years older, so he was in like the right age where, you know, when NES was really big and really popular. You know, he was like 5 to 7 years old, so he was at the right age to have one. So he had the NES. He passed it on to me. I played that for many years, and then I would kind of take it out of retirement, you know, every now and then. To just for fun and really enjoyed the hell out of that thing. I would play Super Mario Brothers 1 and 3. I never owned 2.
2 is a terrible game.
2 is a terrible game.
Ever.
I know.
Well,
I played it. It's terrible.
It's an older
They
game.
reskinned it with characters from Mario. It's bad. It's bad.
Why's Mario in the clouds?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
but
he's always in the clouds.
That's true.
Get your head out of the clouds, Bobby Strong. Get your head out of the clouds. You don't know what I'm talking about?
No, I
Damn
don't.
it. No, it's from a show called You're in Town. It's not important. Anyway.
I've heard of the show, but I've never seen it. Yeah.
Not important. But anytime anybody says talk about the clouds, that's the first thing that pops into my head.
Nice.
But there's like 10 people in my life that maybe get that reference.
Yeah.
And 10 is a very generous number. I'm going to say maybe 2. Yeah.
Well, in any case, I played a lot of Mario. They had a bunch of like more obscure. I had I think I had a DuckTales game. I had
Sorry.
Yes,
I have all this Mario music stuck in my head now. I just played it not too long ago, so because my brother still has our old NES game, our old NES
console,
system,
yeah,
our console, and he's got all the games still, and so we pulled it out for that because he's a big brother to me, and you know, also part of the
Big Brother program.
Yes, Big Brother program, and so
that's awesome.
So
I didn't know that about him. That's great.
Yeah. And so he pulled out to play with his little brother.
Nice.
You know, because he had never seen one before. You know, might as well, you know, drive him to the store and a doctor like a wagon with a donkey. You know, like so. Yeah. So that was fun. So now this music stuck in my head.
Yeah. That is my favorite video game of all time. Spoiler alert. Just right off the bat.
Mario 3 is?
Yeah, it is.
Was it the first one you ever played?
No, I think Mario 1 was probably the first game I ever played.
Okay.
But 3 really appealed to me and really caught on to me, and I've played that game all the way through many times. You know, many different ways with the magic whistles, flutes, whatever.
Right.
With and without them. With the Game Genie. Did you have a Game Genie? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I've heard of it, but is that where you put old games you don't want into it and it makes it not smell bad anymore and then you can throw it in the dumpster?
No. I'm not sure what that is, but that sounds
a diaper genie.
I was like,
make it up.
I'm sure there is such a well, the funny thing is because like I'm sure there is some like cartridge cleaning device. That's why I was like, that sounds plausible. Sure, but no, that's not it.
Yeah.
No. Game Genie is a little attachment that you stick onto the end of your cartridges. They still made them until for many years for different systems. It's a little thing that sticks into the cartridge.
Okay.
You plug the cartridge into that, and then you plug the cartridge and the Game Genie into the system.
Okay.
And there's a code book that you buy, and when you turn on the system, Game Genie boots up, and it's like this screen with all these letters. It looks kind of like at the end of an arcade game when you'd like put in your name.
Yeah.
It looks like that. So you put in the code from the code book for whatever cheat codes you want.
Cheat codes so bad
for
when
the
I'm
game.
playing games. I just want to go on God mode or
So you could do like infinite lives. You could do like
the best.
always Mario is always in the raccoon suit, the Snooki suit, or Mario is always Fireball Mario. Like you could do all those kind of things. Yeah, they were really fun ones for different games.
It's a clever name, Game Genies, like Granny.
It is.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It only works 3 times, and you got to throw it out. You got to give it to your friend.
That's it. And you can't use. There's no cheat code for a million more Game Genies.
Nope. No, there's not. No.
So yeah, I used to do that a lot.
You set the genie free, it runs out of your house. You're like, no, oh no, the Terminators are upon us.
The code book is blank now. Yeah. But I used to do that like after I'd beat a game, then I would go back and play for fun with like, oh, let me try with this power or that thing or whatever. It was a really fun.
That's awesome.
Really fun thing to do. So you played NES a lot?
Yeah, we had NES growing up. We rented most of our games. We didn't own many of them.
Okay. I just had whatever I inherited, whatever games I inherited from my cousin.
I had one of those later. I inherited an Xbox from a friend of mine.
First gen Xbox?
First gen, yeah. Okay. But we can talk about that later. Let's go in order.
Yeah.
Through the ages.
Games through the ages.
And so we had Mario. We had see some games. Sometimes I also get confused. Like, what game was on Nintendo?
Oh, on which console?
Versus something else. Like there was definitely a Ninja Turtles game on Nintendo.
Yeah, I think I had that one too.
Actually, I think there's 2 of them.
Okay, I had one of the Ninja Turtles games for Nintendo.
There's one based on the original 80s comic where they were all in red bandanas and stuff like that, where you couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, creators of Ninja Turtles, but you should really have differentiated their colors.
And
then one based on the cartoon.
I think that's the one that I had.
Yeah, that's what most people had.
Yeah.
That's also the one that I had.
Okay.
It's a later game.
Okay.
And I remember distinctly trying to play it early on, like Sunday morning, because for some reason the Nintendo was in my parents' room. I don't know why anybody thought that was a good idea.
Maybe so you couldn't play at night.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's an excellent point. This is why I'm a terrible parent in the future. And if I don't know I'm a parent, that's why I'm one right now. So, but I have a distinct memory of like playing it in like on like super low volume.
Oh, really?
Like on Sunday morning, like at the foot of my bed while my parents were sleeping, like they didn't wake up and hear us. But yeah, stupid Rocksteady and Bebop, they were so hard. We go to game villains used to blink when they were getting towards the end of their lives. I miss that. How would it be if that was in real life? You go to a nursing home and it's just all this flashing red.
Oh my God!
Come quickly, Grandpa's
He's blinking.
Grandpa's blinking really fast. You have minutes.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know. You laughed. I'm off the hook.
Yeah.
So.
What was your favorite game on Nintendo?
It's a good question. We had a Darkwing Duck game.
I had a game too.
Oh, you had the Darkwing Duck game? Yeah.
Yes.
And you had you can go to the bridge or the sewer.
Yes.
That game was hard.
Yeah, it was. I didn't play it very much because I was like, this is too hard. But I remember having it.
Yeah.
I remember having DuckTales too.
Yeah. Mario 3 was probably also my favorite game. That was the one we returned to quite a bit.
Okay.
We also owned that one, so it was easy to return to. But there was something very doable about Mario that some of the other games couldn't emulate. Because a lot of games in that era were basically Mario.
Like the side scroller thing. Or a lot of other games though. The thing about Mario that I think I liked the most was that
you like plumbing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just really liked getting in there
and suits.
Yeah.
You're a weird person.
I know.
Continue.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I like frog suits too. I really like that it was not easy per se, right? It wasn't a super easy game, but it wasn't complicated.
Right.
It was straightforward in the way it worked. But there was a little bit of complexity to it, whereas other games I felt like they just had one level you played over and over again with slightly different variation. Where Mario, there was enough complexity, but still like, okay, it's simple. I get how to play this game. Like you can play it for 5 minutes and understand the game. Whereas the other games, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Well, yeah,
I'm supposed to punch, I'm supposed to kick, I'm supposed to like especially the ones like Ninja Turtles, or we had to like fight people a lot. It was like, I don't know what you want me to. I don't get it. I'm just in a room. And I'm supposed to fight all these people coming into the room, and I stand here and run around the room.
I always felt that way about the original Legend of Zelda and stuff like that. Like, because a lot of it from that overhead angle looks very similar.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on.
It's very hard to tell what's going on.
And I felt that way back then, even when there wasn't much, to compare it to.
Right. It was hard to tell what was going on. Yeah. And so those never really did it for me. But that's okay. You didn't have a Super Nintendo
I did not.
No, I didn't either. A lot of people did.
Yeah. It seems like a lot more people, at least my age, identify more with Super Nintendo than original Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we had Nintendo, and then we jumped to Sega Genesis.
Okay, I never had a Genesis either.
No, you didn't, but I assume you played it.
I did play it, at friends' houses and stuff.
Like Sonic and
all
that stuff. I think Sega was definitely the game system that we had the most.
Okay.
Had the longest and probably the longest use out of, because there were some great games for Sega Genesis. I could talk about those for minutes. Yeah.
Sega, I remember playing at friends' houses, and I remember playing Sonic at arcades and stuff too.
Right, yeah.
Arcade version of Sega.
Sonic
of Sonic.
Sonic was good. Sonic would, even now, if I play an old Sonic game, as soon as I hit something and lose those rings for the first time, I just feel defeated.
Yeah, yes.
Because you never, you can run and try to get all those rings back, but you can only get back a certain percentage of them.
That's true.
You can never get back all of them, and then you get stuck underwater. Yeah, it was never. But I'll never forget when Sonic and Knuckles showed up, and it was the cartridge that you could. And it was you could play Sonic or Knuckles, and it was the game. But you could hook up Sonic 2, which is the one we had. We had Sonic 2. You could hook it up on top of the Sonic and Knuckles games, and then you could play Knuckles in Sonic 2 or something like that. That was awesome.
That's cool.
Because all those levels that you couldn't get through with Sonic, you could just scale the walls with Knuckles. And then it was the best.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that game was a lot of fun. I have a friend who still loves Sonic to this day. Sonic is his jam. Any Sonic game that comes out, he is there.
I think it's really interesting what Sega has done in now they license out all the characters, and they don't make they don't make hardware anymore. They license the characters out, and you can make Sega games for a lot of platforms.
Right. Nintendo is really what puts out a lot of Sega characters now. Yeah, because he shows up in Smash Brothers. And
exactly,
all
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Do you remember there was a Sonic cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, really, but I remember seeing it around.
Yeah, I used to watch it. I don't even remember why. I just remember he liked... It went through 2 eras. I'll never forget this. You know how sometimes you cartoons they go through front season, they're like, this isn't working, make it darker.
Oh yeah.
The Fantastic Four cartoon did that in the 90s, stuff like that. And Sonic did that. He ran around, stopped Robotnik, ate a lot of chili cheese dogs. That was his thing. So it was almost this weird Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote type thing. And then season 2 it was the Resistance versus Robotnik. And yeah,
gotcha.
Go back and watch that. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
but I'm not positive. I have yet to go back. Sometimes things are just better in your memory.
Kind of, yeah. That's interesting. I don't remember that as much. I didn't really watch that show very much, but I remember seeing clips of it and seeing maybe promos for it and stuff.
Right.
I remember being aware of it, very much aware of it, but not really watching it.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. So that was okay. That was that era.
Mm-hmm.
What was, I don't. The next thing I got after that was a PlayStation 1.
Oh, we had a PlayStation 1 too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a good amount of games. We had a demo CD that we played a lot.
Okay.
Oddly enough, there was there was not a wakeboarding racing game, but it was Turbo something. It was jet skiing racing.
Okay.
And that game was fun. You could play the 1 or 2 levels over and over and over again.
Okay.
So we did that quite a bit. And we had a baseball game that we played a lot. It was a Bottom of the Ninth is what it was called.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember Bottom of the Ninth?
I had the PC version of that, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Bottom of the Ninth was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was some of the first, almost photorealistic animation in a game that I had seen.
Yeah.
The picture actually kind of almost sort of, not really.
Looks like a human.
Almost looks like he's moving like a real picture, not just a little cluster of pixels that the little white dot is leaving from.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. Wow, I haven't thought about Bottom of the Ninth in 99 I had.
I learned a lot about baseball by playing Bottom of the Ninth.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Actually. Yeah. How to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned from I played, there was on back to the original Nintendo, there was a game like a Little League baseball game.
I never played
I think
that.
Little League World Series. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I played a lot of that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I know I'm definitely missing games on Nintendo that are just like
locked
in the back of my brain.
I could rattle off a bunch more,
Go ahead.
but in the interest of moving on.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Another time then.
Yeah,
you can tell me after.
Well, there
we
was
stop
California
recording.
games that was fun. That was like there's all these like little like outdoor like sort of like you'd do BMX and you'd do like skateboarding and surfing and hacky sack and stuff like that.
Hacky sack.
Yeah, that was a favorite of mine.
80s, 90s.
And it was Rad Racer.
Oh, I remember
racing
Rad.
game.
I remember Rad Racer.
The music from Rad Racer, I still get. It's like I remember because there's only like 3 songs you could play in the car when you were racing, and like I get those songs stuck in my head. There's a bunch more, but those are kind of some honorable mentions.
Those are good honorable mentions. Let's go back to PlayStation for a second because I that was when we were, middle school.
Yeah.
Elementary school, middle school. There was pretty sure this was the first PlayStation game was Star Wars. It was a Star Wars game.
Okay.
And now Star Wars Jedi Knights, Star Wars.
Okay.
It was based roughly around Phantom Menace.
Okay. There were a bunch of PlayStation Phantom Menace
I'm going to use
games.
my one lookup for this, actually.
I had a bunch of, while you're doing that, I had a bunch of Star Wars games for PlayStation 1 that I bought at a, what was the one before GameStop? Was it No. It was GameStop. There was a GameStop that was closing down in my area, so everything was on clearance. So I went and bought a bunch of Star Wars games for PlayStation 1 for really cheap. And there was the Phantom Menace game, there was the pod racing game, there was one other that I can't remember what it was. There was one.
There was Dark Forces.
Yeah.
Which was a shooter game.
Okay.
Rebel Assault 2: The Hidden Empire.
That's another one.
That's
was that around
95 it came out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and then there was Masters of Teräs-Käsi. I don't even remember that one at all.
Neither.
There was the Phantom Menace game. There was Jedi Power Battles. That's the one.
Oh, I had that one too. Yes.
Jedi Power Battles. Yeah. And there was the Star Wars Masters. That was the fighting game.
Okay.
That was the
the
Star Wars fighting game. I didn't have it either. My friend who lived down the road from me, I would play PlayStation with him a lot, and he was a big Star Wars guy.
Nice.
So I played a lot of those with him. We had Final Fantasy VII.
Never had any of the Final Fantasy games. Was never really into that.
My brother played it. I watched him play more than play it myself. Okay. I have a very proud tradition in my life of just watching people play video games. I got very good at it and feigning interest.
See, I can't really do it for more than a few minutes.
It's a learned skill. Watching somebody play a video game is...
I can't do that.
I don't know why it's so boring. It is
boring.
It's no different than, say, like watching a movie with less going on, really.
That's it.
But it's like knowing you could be in control and knowing you're not is just very, like,
yeah.
Okay.
I find it quite boring. But there are people who really enjoy, like, showing off for a friend, like, oh, here's how good I am at this game. And they want someone to show it to, and I'm just like, okay, that's nice.
Good for you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm good at?
Good.
Things that matter in real life. No.
Well, I mean, I'm
just kidding.
I have nothing against gaming, but my philosophy on gaming was always more of like, this is something I do, in my spare time. It's never.
Yes, it's not my way of life.
And it's not like my first hobby. It's not a hobby. It's something I'm a much more casual gamer.
But you're also not a show off.
I guess that's true.
In any way.
Yeah, but I enjoy when I'm good at a game. I enjoy playing it like. With other people and like trying to win, but I'm not super competitive, I guess, is the thing.
Right.
So that's probably why it just doesn't. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I guess whatever. There are other ways I guess on my time, but it's just a matter of personal preference and kind of personality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what other PS1 games to mention?
I'm trying to remember. We had a Fantastic Four game.
Ooh.
That most people don't even know there was one for the PlayStation.
Nice.
I assure you, there was.
There was a Spider-Man game that came out.
For the PlayStation, yes,
for PlayStation.
I remember that one.
It was before. This is before Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yes,
movie
that
came
one
out.
came out for the PlayStation as well.
Yes. I think so. I might have been PS2 by that time.
That was PS2.
Yeah. But I had this game. This was based on like all the comics versions of the villains.
Yeah. I remember that game. That game was quite fun.
It was pretty fun. Yeah.
There was like Carnage in it, and Venom, and a whole bunch of other people. I remember distinctly like chasing after I remember distinctly chasing after Venom, like like you gotta.
Yeah, that was a big
him.
part of it. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. And but this Fantastic Four game, just to go back for a second, was okay. Like you could do like they had all these special moves and whatever else, but you could put in a cheat and also play as the She-Hulk.
Ooh, that's
which
cool.
was cool back in the day. Yeah. We had a couple. There were a lot of, even going backwards, there were a lot of superhero games back there, like the X-Men game for Genesis.
Okay.
There's an X-Men. There were a couple of different Spider-Man ones, one for the animated series, so like Maximum Carnage, and Separation Anxiety, and a lot of those I played. Some of them were based on that like side-scrolling Double Dragon style, or Street Fighter, not Street Fighter, but maybe Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, that's what I'm thinking of. Stuff like that. There was a game called Rampage, which was basically like monsters tearing apart a city kind of thing. There's a lot of that stuff out there.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of games.
Yeah.
Remember Echo the Dolphin?
You never had it, but I remember it, yeah.
I never could figure out for my life how to play it, so I would just swim around being a dolphin.
Yeah.
Making echoey sounds, not really understanding the principles of echolocation.
Just enjoying yourself as a dolphin.
Just enjoying myself as a dolphin.
Enjoying dolphin life.
It was good life.
Dead dolphin life.
Yeah.
What? So after PS1, what was the next thing you had?
I think GameCube after that.
Oh, okay. I never had GameCube.
With the mini discs.
Yeah, the little tiny discs.
Yeah, that one was the first system I bought for myself. I distinctly remember like buying it for I wanted it with my, I would say, graduation money, something like that.
Okay.
And I played a fair number of games on it. I had Smash Brothers and a few different things. I had the first Spider-Man game, where you could play Spider-Man, but then you could also play as Green Goblin if you beat the game.
That's cool.
Which was cool. And there was Spider-Man 2 for that. There was a great Batman game. There were two of them. Because these are the kind of games that I played. So
of course.
Whatever. There was one called Batman Vengeance, which was based off the animated series, and it had all the cast of the animated series.
Oh, nice.
And it was a really fun game. There was puzzles. People always praise the Arkham games for like, this is the first time you've ever been able to do all the things you could do as Batman. I'm like, I distinctly remember doing a lot of those things in Vengeance.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe it's rose-colored glasses. If I played it today, it's probably not as good as I think it is.
Yeah.
But I remember it being, like, proto, like, you know that scene in Return of the Joker from Batman Beyond where it's the flashback and it's like, wow, this is dark for an animated series. It has that vibe to it throughout the whole game. But this is before that movie even came out.
Okay.
So, yeah, that game was quite fun. And there was another one called Dark Tomorrow,
which
had a weird system of playing. You were always, like, kind of looking at him on the character to the side. It had a weird fight system, but the graphics were quite good at the time. It had an awesome theme song played by some Philharmonic orchestra from somewhere. I can't remember where. But it was based on an unused comic story.
Oh, wow.
DC had written it and decided not to use it.
So
and I think they went
with
so I think they went with like No Man's Land instead or something like that. It was like some big event was coming and they never used it, so it got used for the game. And it's this whole big like Ra's al Ghul story and Arkham inmates get out, and you basically have to go after a whole bunch of them. But I remember if you didn't do one thing by the time you get to Ra's to defeat him, you sword fight Ra's at the end and all this stuff. But if you like didn't disable the computer before going to Ra's, you still lose the game.
Oh.
It took me a couple of times by doing this. Like, I'm beating him. Why can't I finish this game? And like, I finally found like the secret room to disable the computer and all this stuff. Yeah, game was it was quite good. I mean, the gameplay itself was okay, but I liked it enough to be like, yes, this is good.
Nice.
It was like comic Batman.
Nice.
It wasn't like any other weird version of Batman. It was comic book Batman.
See, I didn't have a lot of comic book games growing up, which is weird, but I had kind of a random assortment. So on PS1, I had Triple Play 99.
Oh yeah, I remember
Triple
Play. Yeah,
baseball. I loved the baseball games. I had Need for Speed 3.
I have never played it, but Need for Speed is
love Need for Speed. Yeah.
Do you have the pod racing game?
I did have the pod racing game eventually.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had for PC first, and then I got it for PS1 also.
Okay,
I liked it better on the console.
I had quite a number of PC games. We could do a whole
separate
PC
thing.
Games,
But yeah, I loved the pod racing game. I liked Jedi Power Battles and the Phantom Menace games better.
Mm-hmm. Jedi Power Battles was great.
That was a great game.
I used to play Plo Koon all the time.
Yeah, me too. I love Plo Koon. Yeah, man.
Table. Yeah.
Woo. Loved that game. Especially loved it because I got it for like $5.
That's even better.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the things I played. I had Toy Story 2 game for PlayStation.
Oh, that's fun.
That was fun. You play as Buzz.
That's cool. I had the first one, which was really hard. I've never played the second one.
Second one was a lot of fun, and it's one of the few like games like that like have a story that I actually finished all the way through. That I had the patience to finish. Because most I played a lot of like I said like Need for Speed or baseball. Like there's no story,
right?
So
it's
more of a casual game.
You're just playing baseball, right?
Or racing for a couple hours until I was bored and then stopped.
Right.
But the Toy Story game was the first one that I was like, no, I'm going to go through the whole story and beat the whole game. First one for PlayStation that I did that for.
Right.
I did that with Spider-Man eventually too. Yeah. So, but then after that, I didn't have another console for. Ever actually, that's the last console that I never got into Xbox, never got into the other PlayStations, never. That was the last console that I owned. I kind of play casually, other like PC games. I got into some PC games after that, but never did another console after that. You said you had an Xbox though.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can leave it. We're running out of time, so
sure,
we'll leave it there. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna be telling you about all these games that I had.
Well, let's just go through what consoles did you have after that?
After that, my friend gave me his Xbox.
Yep.
So I had that. And I got I had a 64. I'm sorry. I said GameCube, but I did have a 64. No, I said that, didn't I?
No, you didn't. You didn't say that, no.
Maybe I had that Spider-Man game for 64 instead.
Okay. Maybe.
Can't remember. But I had a 64, and then my friend gave me his Xbox, so I had a big gap, technically, because that was even, Xbox was late by the time that he'd given it to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I had a 360 for a long time.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And now I have a PS4, which I got strictly to play Arkham Knight.
I know that, yeah. You even bought, the bundle that comes with the console and the game.
I waited, because I'm not a huge gamer.
Right.
I can only spend so much time before I'm like, I have to do things with my...
Yeah.
I just can't sit for that long. I get too antsy. But there are other games coming out that I'd like to play, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I have a hard time getting invested in a game.
Interesting. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Although I did actually just this past week, actually yesterday as we're recording this, I got really into, there's a new Need for Speed game for iOS.
Oh, is
I
there
got
one?
it on my iPad, and
Yeah.
it is so much fun. I played it all day yesterday.
It's funny that you're a racing game guy.
I really am. I really am.
I would never have pegged you for a racing game guy.
But it's funny because I get into it's called Need for Speed No Limits. I get into a phase of wanting to play kind of a mindless, not something I have to think about and go through the story and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Something that I can just kind of play for 5-minute bursts.
Yep.
Okay, there's races, right? I can do 10 races in an hour. And then okay, I'm done now. It was good, kind of mindless distraction for an hour.
Let your mind do something different.
And now I'm going to go off and go back to whatever I was doing.
That's cool.
So that's why I like it. It's small. It's short bursts that I can do as many of them as I want. I can do it for 6 hours, or I can do it for half an hour, or for 5 minutes, or whatever.
Right on.
So,
well, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Two casual gamers talking about casual gaming casually.
Right. I will say that before we wrap up, you did miss one thing by never having an Xbox. There's an Ultimate Spider-Man game written by Bendis that I've actually been trying to track down so I can continue to play it.
Nice.
Because I had it. I don't know where it went for the life of me. But oh man, it is quite a...
That sounds like a lot of fun. I also
fun.
regret I never got to really play the Superman Returns game very much, which I think was for 360 by that time.
That game was quite good, yeah.
That I played it at a friend's house a few times and really enjoyed it, and would like to... I mean, I don't have a 360, but if I could get my hands on one for super cheap, I would almost consider getting it just so I could play that game a little bit, or at least borrow it from somebody, or rent it, whatever,
right on.
To play for a little bit. But in any case, any other final thoughts on games?
No.
All right.
No.
Fair enough. That's fair. Well, my final thought is that people should find us on the internet, and they should tell us about their favorite games.
I agree.
beerwithgeeks@gmail.com is a great way to do that. Also at beerwithgeeks on Twitter, great way to do that. Facebook as well, facebook.com/beerwithgeeks. And send us your iTunes reviews. We'd love to help get the word out there about the show a little bit more. So review us, rate us, give us a 4 or 5 star rating. We'd love that. Also check out Supergirl TV Talk, which is going to be in full swing pretty soon. We're doing episodes for a while, but the Supergirl show starts real soon. So get out there and get subscribed to that. Get ready for the show to get started. That's about all I got for today.
That's good. I don't have anything to share.
All right. Well,
All right.
until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.